Dhamma talk, may everyone give the consent with 3 times sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhasse. Dear Venerable Sirs, dear Dhamma friends, that today we are in the 3rd day of our retreat, and according to the 3rd talk, and as we all know, the topic is Sabbasava Sutta, that is talking about the taints, and day before yesterday and yesterday, we tried to get the instructions as much as possible from this particular sutta towards our meditation. And to summarize briefly, it says that only for the person who knows and sees these taints, these influxes, can control them or get rid of them, not without that. So in order to see influxes as influxes, or in order to see these taints as taints, one has to develop, according to this wise attention or this radical reflection. So this is what we try to promote with the help of mindfulness. So when and where the mindfulness comes, it gives kind of a awareness, choiceless awareness, whereby our habits, our personality traits, and our liking and dislikings could be observed by the very person who is developing mindfulness. Then only the application of this idea about the taints, idea about these influxes, could be put into the system, put into the situation, and try to take the situation under control. Along this line, the understanding of the yoniso manasikara, that is the wise reflection, wise attention, and proximate factor for that yoniso manasikara, the mindfulness, are both important. So, as yesterday we discussed, we take, for example, the in-breath and out-breath as the object of meditation for the development of mindfulness. So there what we do is, we close the other faculties temporarily, that is to say the eye faculty, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and the attention is focused to the body. And if naturally the breathing come into being, you take the breath as the primary object. So this very effort, that is to keep the attention with one particular door, the body door, is quite a new thing for the mind, because as the Buddha indicated, we have the untrained mind is like a monkey mind. It is just jumping from one to the other. So when and where we try to keep it in one place, it becomes very difficult. So therefore, the whole task is generally difficult. No one can say it is easy. Even the Buddha says it is difficult. But if you wish to see taints as taints, if you wish to know taints as taints, these are the ways you are developing in a systematic way. So when and where you develop the ability, or ways and means, to keep the attention little longer with the in-breath and out-breath, you are being asked to focus more closely and observe more vigilantly about this in-breath and out-breath, so to say, see the discrimination, see the differences between the experience of in-breath and out-breath. There we use the vitakka, that applying thoughts or adverting of our mind purposefully, willfully, volitionally to this in-breath and out-breath, while keeping there in order to get some kind of a motivation. You have been asked to see the discrimination, the in-breath and out-breath. They are at the beginning, provided that mindfulness is somewhat continuous, at the beginning what you see is the individual characteristics of the in-breath phase versus the out-breath phase. And to facilitate it, what you have to do is see as much as possible this kind of intrinsic, individual characteristics of in-breath versus out-breath. In the canon it says, see from the beginning through the middle to the end of the in-breath. And then with the equal diligence, with equal vigilance, you have to see the out-breath from the beginning through the middle to the end. When you keep on practicing, whether you know it or not know, well, there is a kind of a shifting happens. More and more you have to see the same object for a longer time. Naturally, this individual characteristics gives space to the common characteristics. That is to say, at the beginning you see the contrast between the in and out. So much so, you can note them, you can label them, and according to the effort, you get more and more information that is called sap of the Dhamma. It is a juice of the Dhamma. The nutriments, you get it, as to say, in-breath is so-and-so, out-breath is so-and-so, beginning is such, middle is such, end is such, so get more and more. While it is happening, if you are keeping the attention more along with the same object, ultimately what happens is, you find it is difficult to note, because instead of these individual characteristics, some common characteristics are going to happen, which is common for both in-breath and out-breath. So they are, if you are not well instructed, and rather if you are not prepared, easily you will interpret, or rather misinterpret, telling the object become tasteless, object become boring, object become monotonous, and you leading towards more and more unknown from the known, leading from the grossness to the subtlety. And enough reasons you may find how mind is rather, the noting mind is rather looking outwardly rather than the in-breath and out-breath, because in-breath and out-breath is very boring, pale, monotonous. So sounds, thoughts and the pains kind of thing appear like increasing. So unless otherwise you are not well instructed, that is why the Buddha here mentioned, if you have not associated with the Noble One and not skillful in the noble teachings and not heard about them, or if you not associated with the righteous people or true people and not familiar with their Dhamma, often what you do is either you change the object or change the teacher or change the meditation place or the technique or get up and go. So therefore never you endeavor to see from grossness to the subtleness, from individual characteristics to the common characteristics, from easy to apply the attention to the difficulty in applying attention. So this thing happen in a very gradual way. So if you are instructed and if you are prepared, you will rather recognize this as an advancement in the meditation. But otherwise, easily what you do is you become self-critical. Sometimes, as I mentioned, searching for another teacher, telling Anapanasati is not my meditation, I have to go for another meditation technique, or I have to go for another method. Or sometimes you get up and go. Sometimes you may tend to do force breathing in order to develop the gross one. So these are common mistakes of the beginners. So usually they hesitate to report these kind of things in the interviews to the teachers, and therefore ultimately end up with the discouragement. But it is a duty of the teachers just to give them as a general instructions and do have kind of a person-to-person interviews and try to show them this is not a mistake of an individual. This is not a mistake of the weakening of mindfulness. This is not a mistake or weakening of the concentration. That is why people are always changing the object. That is what the advertisements are telling us, changing the products, changing the everything, and some or the other, they keep us amused. But the Buddha says, this is a kind of escapism. Instead, if you wish to see taints, and if you wish to know the taints, which is having that perversive character, you have to take one object and keep on observing, expecting, and preparing for this kind of a shift from grossness to the subtleness, known to the unknown, private characteristics to the common characteristics. And when it happens, if you advance through, normal in yogis terms, what they would say is, at the beginning breath is very gross, now you feel as if there is no breath, or otherwise it is becoming subtler and subtler. Easily they may complain, telling, I can go into the subtle form, now breath is not there. Under such circumstances, what should I do? It's a very common question in the discussions as well as in the private interviews. The breath becomes subtler and subtler. So under such circumstances, entertaining of doubts is excusable. Or otherwise what can happen is, you can fall into sleep. These are the two traps. When the object becomes docile, object becomes tamed, object becomes face-to-face, and keeping in view with the noting mind, three options can happen. One thing is complaining, telling that I am being asked to observe the breath, it is no more, therefore what to do? And am I correct? Or am I wrong? Should I start for the forced breathing? Or is this a mistake in my mindfulness? Or is this a mistake of my concentration? Like entertaining doubts, it's a kind of agitation of the mind. Or otherwise, falling into sleep, it's a too slimy, too lethargic mind, falling to sleep. Knowing these two, if you keep the track, keep the vigilance, keep the diligence, keep the mindfulness, is the middle path. So middle path never come by mere rationalization, mere deductive knowledge, but mere book knowledge. While practicing, you have to do interviews and talk with and adjust it. And this adjustment also not happening in once in your whole meditative life. It is each and every junction happen. You must understand what are the two extremes possible. It depends on individual person. Possible and what is the middle part. So that means the teachers have to say, if the breath is appear to be not available, and if you are sure that mind is not wandering off, not the mind is associating with the external sounds, and if the mind is not associating with the pains, that indicate that mind is not gone out. But the object that you have been assigned to do is no more. And if possible, keep the mind state, keep the stream of consciousness as long as possible with this unknown, uncertain situation. For that only you must have your guts, you must have your faith, you must have your energy, you must have your mindfulness, concentration, wisdom and everything. But as I mentioned earlier, this is normally never assimilated by individual. You have to listen. You have to have a discussion. You have to raise this question and get it cleared. And if it is so, for example, we say one person can go up to this very subtle layers of mindfulness, subtle layers of in-breath and out-breath, still unshaken, and continue without adding any turbulence, without entertaining sleepiness, continues. He is exploring into a kind of a place that you have never been in your consciousness. So therefore it is natural for you to feel alienated, natural for you to being that outcasted life, natural for you to being uncertain and some kind of bodily and mental shaking kind of situation. So therefore one day, overnight, you can't do it. Slowly you have to develop the immunity, you have to develop the endurance capacity, and ultimately you will come up to a situation even without the perception of breath. Even if you can't feel the in-breath, out-breath as such, you can still keep the attention just like a person on tightrope walking. Without falling into the other side, you can go. This is when you are going to happen. The changes could be explained in this way. Up to that point, you are there, effort is there, applying thought is there, object is there. When and where this object becomes very subtle, you are no more, no applying thoughts, everything is rather happening. Only thing you have to do is not to entertain any volitions, any will, any kind of intentions. Just let it go. So that is that point, that onward, the meditation is something rather happening than what you do. And as far as it is happening, there is not the full-fledged ego, full-fledged self consciousness, not necessary, but this ego is not going simply by one signal. It's always do all the kind of tricks, all the kind of smartness coming and suggesting this and that. So you have to understand how these influxes are coming in, when and where there is no intention, when and where there is no will, when and there is no volition. Things are happening very smoothly, but you feel like cornered, you feel like alienated, you feel like bored, you feel like something boiling. So when that happens, you are at the brim of the Kayanupassana level. That means at the best of your meditation towards the bodily contacts. That means dwelling on the contemplation of the body on the body. So breath becomes so subtle. In the commentaries, it says, often people, when meditating, when the breath is not there, they come out and argue with the teachers and raise questions what to do. And therefore, the commentators have made a list. They say, in this existence, there are 5 places. Theoretically, the breath is not prominent. One thing is when you are in the womb, mother's womb, breath is not happening. It is happening through the yet another method. Second thing is when you are diving in the water, without these equipments, you are holding the breath, so there is no breath. And the third one is when you are in the 4th jhana, theoretically no breath. And you are in the Nirodha Samapatti, cessation of this feeling and perception, that is also, Arahants can go there. And the last one is when you are died. These are the 5 possible places the breath can completely ceases to exist. So you can ask yourself whether I am in such a situation. Easily you can verify. It is not the case. This is because the subtlety of the breath, it is not making any kind of a sensation. So therefore, the noting mind becomes amused, listless it becomes. So that is one of the very crucial situation in the meditation. You must not add any turbulence for that kind of thing, or you must not let the mind to fall into sleep. So when you go further, what happens is, if just like a tightrope walking, if you can cross this state, what happens is huge amount of gladness going to set in, because you are reaching kind of a frictionless path. Each and every moment you find the contented. Everything is completely filled, and this inner space, kind of an inner space is there, nothing to do, everything is happening, but you have to make up your mind, be prepared. And in this gladness, if you are not interfering, can develop into the rapture and happiness. And when these happen, again, a kind of taints influxes can happen through the pride. Telling that you can become proud, telling that I am a very successful yogi. Earlier I used to be engaged with this uncertain situation. Now I am not. Now I know how to walk in this tightrope. And likewise that egoism again can happen. Or the desire towards this gladness and the rapture can happen. So there also you have to take care about not to fall into that trap. Otherwise, when and where this balance, when and where this combination destroyed, immediately all the mindfulness and all the concentration go shattered, and everywhere the pain going to start, and you're going to feel the whole body, and it is not at rest. So there also you may disheartened, telling that that a whole nice combination went away without my consent. Like so, therefore, the pleasurable feeling and painful feeling can, according to the circumstances, arises. So whenever pleasurable feeling happens, like gladness and the rapture, the latent tendency is to develop the desire. When and where that lack of mindfulness and the concentration, the bodily uncomfortability happen, the latent tendency is the hatred. So therefore you become succumbed or vulnerable to these latent tendencies. Therefore you don't know how to recover it when such a situation happens. So I would like to quote one of very brilliant discourse still you find in the Majjhima Nikaya, known as Chullavedalla Sutta. In the Chullavedalla Sutta, let me explain little of the background so that it will be easier to understand. During the time of the Buddha, there was a couple and no children, and they are well to do. The husband used to go to the temple daily and listen to the Buddha, and he find very appealing. But you know, in India, the female are considered as fools. They can't understand Buddha's teaching, so therefore husband never invite the wife to come and listen to the Dhamma. They are not up to the mark, they are not intelligent, so therefore he never invited. Ultimately he became stream enterer. Another day he became the one returner and then non-returner. The last day he became non-returner. When he come back home after the sermon, the wife, known as Dhammajiva, went forward to hug him and the normal way. But that day, that particular husband named as Visakha told, don't touch my body. Then Dhammajiva thought that is something strange, but anyway she never made any fuss, prepared the dinner and made everything comfortable. Next day morning, when the situation happened, she asked the husband, what happened? Have I done anything wrong? Or do you have any idea about yet another woman? What is this that you are not normal like earlier? Then he asked, I have nothing abnormal, is normal. No, when you are yesterday coming, I used to get there and greet and hug, but you are not alive. Then Visakha became very uncomfortable, and after long stammerings and considerations and kind of thing, I used to go to the Buddha regularly. The teaching is so nice. Though you don't know the kind of changes happening inside me, no more I can live in the household life. So I thought of renunciating. But how can I do it? How can I express to you? Because we were together so long time, and you are going insecure. So that is what the thing I was thinking about. Then Dhammajiva told, if it is such a nice thing, it is my duty to take care about myself. So I don't care if it is really making the well-being of you. Then the Visakha was happy. He told, if you wish to marry again, take this property, or otherwise take this whole property, manage it. Please give me the permission to go. Then Dhammajiva asked a very nice question. So can I also go and join to the ordination, or join to the order? Then the Visakha was not much happy, thinking that she may undergo a lot of difficulties. She told, of course the possibility is there, but are you sure that you can go there and you can try with this bare minimums? Dhammadina, the husband, wife told, and it is up to me. If it is possible, I also will leave this household, and we both can go there and get ordination. And then Visakha went and became a monk, and the Dhammadina became a nun. And soon became a nun. She took leave from the Buddha and went to a faraway place and did meditation, full time. And after a while, she came back to the same place, Jetavana. And then Visakha came to know the Dhammadina went out and came back. Visakha knows that she would have been discouraged and desperate, and that is why come. So with the whole relationship, he paid a visit to Dhammadina and asked questions as to see whether she has got any understanding, insights. It's a long discussions. So one part I would like to quote. The Visakha is asking from the Dhammadina, "Oh, noble sister, what is the pain and pleasure of the painful feeling?" It appears like quite a abnormal question. What is the pain and pleasure of the painful feeling? Then the Dhammadina told, "Oh Visakha, when the painful feeling coming, it is painful. When it is going, it is pleasurable." And the thing is, you don't understand, because when and where the painful feeling happen, your stream of consciousness is infiltrated or affected by the latent tendency of hatred. So therefore you are not patient to see the pleasurable side of the painful feeling when it is leaving you, because you are obsessed. I mean, these things are not in the sutta, but her short question, short and sweet answer is, the painful feeling, when it's happening, it is painful, when it's leaving, pleasurable. But the thing is, you don't see the whole drama, because your mind is so obsessed, so possessed with this latent tendency of hatred. Then the Visakha put the second question. "Oh dear, the noble sister, what is the pain and pleasure of pleasurable feeling?" Then she put the other way around. "Okay, Visakha, when the pleasurable feeling comes, it is pleasurable. When it is leaving, painful. But there the latent tendency is the desire. So your mind is clouded and puddled and muddled, and therefore you never see the painful part of the pleasurable feeling, because you are not patient to see it is leaving." So this is not the crux of the discussion. Then the Visakha is asking, what is the pain and pleasure of the no pleasure, no fear, no pain feelings, neutral feeling? That is the brightness of the Dhammadina. If you know no pain, no pleasure feeling, you are happy. If you do not know no pain, no pleasure, you are unhappy. Ignorance is the undermining tendency. So why I am quoting this one is, when the breath becomes subtler and subtler, you are leading to no pain, no pleasure kind of situation. You never confronted it, you never expected it, you never know such a thing is existing, therefore always you are reacting to it. It is happening due to the ignorance. When and where you are enlightened, theoretically and with the deductive knowledge, one day you can be welcoming this kind of a no pain, no pleasure situation. That day you will understand, most of the time in our day, we are in no pain, no pleasure situation. But we don't know. We always try to do it, we always do smart things. Whenever we feel no pain, no pleasure, we read novels, we go to the television, we plan picnics, we give a telephone call to someone. For some or the other, we add something. We do not know how to appreciate no pain, no pleasure, because it's a utter ignorance. So meditation, the way of the Buddha present, at the beginning you are given pain and pleasure. When the breath becomes face to face, very pleasurable, good. When the disturbance happens, the thoughts, the sounds and the pain, unpleasurable situation happen. So whenever you are fighting, ultimately you will come up with the situation, you can endure with the primary object, and ultimately it becomes calming and subtle, becomes subtler and subtler, and that is the point you are leading, without your knowledge, to the no pain, no pleasure. First and foremost reaction is to do something, willfully, volitionally, and with will. with kind of intentions. So what is the instruction, what is the noble advice is, try to do nothing and just try to be with this no pain, no pleasure situation. That is the way you rather not supporting your ego, not supporting your self, not supporting your any kind of thing. You are just be ready to the phenomena as such. So this happens, this kind of a fine calibration happens at the end of the Kayanupassana level. That means that once your body becomes very tamed, object of meditation, namely the breathing becomes very tamed, and you are not moving, and you can continue just like in the tightrope walking. There everything come at the alignment. So the Western books, they explain this as the inner peace, or sometimes they call the whole body experience. When and where the breath is calm, and still if you are not making any additional thing, you are just observing, there's a kind of experience is there. That experience is not coming through the eye as seeing, not coming through the ear as hearing, not coming through the nose as smelling, or tasting, or touching, or thinking. Away from it, but still you can't deny it. Everything settled down, next moment is 100% sure will be the same. Unless otherwise you add some kind of doubts, or your mind fall into sleep. So that vigilance, that diligence is a very subtle layer, and your skillfulness, your already developed mindfulness, and the concentration with the materiality, the corporeality, the in and out air, and your heaviness, stiffness, tension, everything is teaching you to go up to that subtle level. Over there, feelings are the next thing manifest, whether you like it or not. So therefore, if one is skillful in Kayanupassana, that means contemplation on the body, meditation is naturally unfolding towards the feelings. When that happens, what you have to do is not to associate with these tendencies or dormant tendencies like hating pains and desiring the pleasure, because the hateful pain, when it is leaving you, it's a pleasure. The pleasurable feeling, whether you like it or not, it's leaving you. When it's leaving, what is remaining is the pain. So therefore, if you put together and divided by 2, pain is equal to pleasure. And ultimately, you can equally draw an equation that is almost equal to no pain, no pleasure. But we don't know. We in the day-to-day activities, most of the time we are in no pain, no pleasure situation. But we feel it as boredom. We feel it as something wrong. We feel like cornered. We feel like monotonous, fearful to do something. That is the point where the volitions come into. That is the point where the will and the intentions come. And ultimately you claim these intentions, these will, these volitions are more familiar, but they are always with the influxes. They are always with these stains. So knowingly or unknowingly what you do is, you hug them, you kiss them, you promote them, ultimately they lead you to either pain or pleasure, and always with the latent tendencies like hate or desire. So the path, Nibbana Gamini Patipada, the gradual path is lying along the no pain, no pleasure situation. But we don't know. We have never been taught. Even the no pain, no pleasure is the majority of our time. We never appreciate it. So therefore, we always associate in the extremes. So we caught up into the vortex. Whenever the no pain, no pleasure happens, it's a straight line, and it's go to the infinitum. And as far as there's no arc, there's no center. There's no self-center. But it's completely strange thing. It's a rational mind never accept it. Your rational mind appreciate whatever may be familiar, whatever may be known. That familiarity is the taint. Familiarity is the influx. Because we have been with these influxes from the time unknown. When and where, even for the thought moment, the stream of consciousness becomes free of these fluxes, we feel dull, we feel tasteless, we feel no dramatic, we feel boredom, we feel monotonous. So therefore we do something or the other. Ultimately we complain, telling that person, this person, or whatever the agent external, telling they are the people destroying my peace and giving this kind of bad things like. But the Buddha says, if you are mindful, if you are well instructed, and if you are appreciating the proper thing, you have all the three combination in each and every moment. Either the associating one extreme or other, or if you are keen, if you are well skillful, well prepared, assimilating of the middle part. So there you will understand the beginners, their meditation should be always with sitting meditation. All the other variables must be closed. The eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and all the kind of thing. External sounds must not be there. You must be in the forest and sitting, all the kind of thing. The day you understand this secret, through this all the laboratory kind of background, then the adventure happens. Can I maintain this kind of a no pain, no pleasure kind of a situation in walking meditation while doing the day-to-day activities? Or otherwise, when the pleasure happens, understand that pleasure is always leaving room to the pain. When the pain happens, this is always leaving room to the pleasure. And the no pain, no pleasure is not changing. There is nothing to change. So therefore the secret is in the no pain, no pleasure. The day then you will understand the balance, your synchronize, your best combination is up to you. Other people can disturb if you are uninstructed, if you are not prepared, if you are not with without ways and means, then you are succumb to the situation. So more and more you practice, what happens is you never get shaken by the pleasure or by pain. Instead, you understand whenever the pleasure happens, equal amount of pain is there. Whenever the pain happens, equal amount of pleasure is there. If you look at them with untainted kind of, unbiased kind of, or choiceless kind of awareness. Our mind is so in a rut, always choosing the pleasure and hating the pain. Therefore, we easily miss the bus. We easily miss no pain, no pleasure. If you look at the night sky, you will only see stars, lot of stars. You will write many things in the astronomy. Who is going to see the space in between stars? It is not the subject matter. Our eyes can't see them. But if you put all the stars into one corner of the sky, it will not make even 5% or 10%, 2% of the space. Completely it is in the dark, the space. We never look at it. We always look at the bright side. So that is because our mind is more towards the existing one, the gross one, known one, and we never adventurous to go from the gross to the subtlety, known to the unknown. So still we say we expect liberation. This is such a joke in the life. The liberation is there where there is no friction, where there is no extremes. It's always lying in the middle. But middle is very boring. The middle path is very monotonous. And that is why the world is going to give this all the entertainments. So we think people, those who have good entertainments, are rich. People can't access to this entertainment are poor. The moment you understand the painful feeling, how much it is leading to the pleasure, when the pleasurable feeling happens, how much leading into the pain, when the no pain, no pleasure happen, if you know it, how much is a pleasure, if you do not know what loss, then you will understand these entertainments are really escapism, really entertaining this self and ego and the taints. I mean, it is not a crime. This is what happens. But if you recognize you as a freedom fighter, you have to understand where it lies. It lies in between no pain, no pleasure situation. So therefore, this Dhammadina's answer, as well as the Visakha's, the correct question, is quite revealing. The whole world, as the Sigmund Freud presented, the pleasure-seeking game. Whole America is the worst or best example. No one think about who am I. No one think about what is the experience of the present moment. What is the noble quest. Instead, running behind what the multinational company is telling. Running behind the advertisements. Running behind the trends. And these trends are also fixed by the youngsters rather than the elderly people. So in the Asiatic countries, this may be due to their poor nature, maybe unaffordability, other way around, but even then that is not enlightening. In Asia also you have so much of people never exposed, never understood it, because it is not a thing, it is not finding the middle path is not a, all ready-made kind of a product. Understanding the two extremes is the first and foremost to assimilate the middle. So therefore meditators are asked not to get agitated by the painful feeling, not to get elated by the pleasurable feeling. Whenever the pain happens, you have to understand if you are keen enough to see the beginning, the middle and the end, specifically the end of painful feeling means a pleasure. But if you are impatient not to wait till the end of the painful feeling, you will definitely say pain is pain. And it is best thing is to hate it. But instead you will attract to this pleasure. But the pleasure has the disadvantage. When it is leaving the pain behind. But you are not there to see the end. So therefore the vipassana or insight meditation, simply you can say the practitioner of the insight meditator or person doing vipassana meditation, whatever the phenomena happen, whether it is a materiality or feeling or perception, volition or consciousness, only you do is see the phenomena from the beginning to the middle to the end. If whatever may be, it doesn't matter. So if you are to see the beginning, the middle and the end, the truth is there. But if you are wanting, we are too late to see the beginning. We see only the middle. The phenomena at the beginning is very subtle, very difficult to see. So therefore you have to have vigilance. And when the middle happens, yes, everyone accept it, everyone do it. But no one wait till it happens, till it go to the end of it. So if you know the beginning, the middle and the end, it's a completely different kind of approach. It's a kind of a equanimity, kind of a balancing, finding the balance. That is the point where this middle path is like. So therefore, rather than, not like that, of course you can explain this in the materiality also, but the feeling wise, this Dhammadina and Visakha dialogue is very important. I will take little time to explain how we can see this middle path in the materiality. That means the corporeality, that means the body. The Buddhist circle accept and teach us the whole body is nothing but 4 elements. The air element, the water element, the heat element and the earth element. These elements are manifested, air element manifesting as movements or holding. The water element manifests as the fluidity or cohesiveness. The heat element manifests as heat or cold. The earth element has 6 manifestations: hardness, softness, heaviness, lightness, smoothness and roughness. So whenever you explain, for example, your in-breath and out-breath, to someone, you have to use one of these words. How do you explain the in-breath versus out-breath? That means, whenever someone is explaining the breath in terms of the rubbing sensation, heat, cold, stiffness, tension, he or she talking with the international language. not in the individual languages. So ultimately you will understand the breath is nothing but this manifestation of 4 elements. And when you go further, feel other feelings in the body. When you are sitting for a longer time, the pain happens, or wind happens. So everything you can put into this language as stiffness, tension, heat, cold kind of thing. But when you are observing only, you will understand when the one breath, in-breath happens, and before the out-breath, you feel nothing. There's a gap. In the gap, no manifestation of materiality. That we call space. When you are observing a TV screen without a program, you see lot of dots. So each and every dot is completely filling the screen. But you can see these dots are not mingling each other, not mixing each other. Each and every dot has its own beginning, its own existence, and its own disappearance. They never fight each other. That means there's enough space in between these drops. We never see them. We only see the dots. Likewise, when you are observing as much as possible, the hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness, heat, cold, stiffness, tension, movements, you can understand they are not fighting each other. Even the heat element means the heat and cold, they are completely extreme two things, heat and the cold. But when they are manifesting, they are not fighting each other. They are not fighting with the air element. They are not fighting with the water element. They have their own nature. Because there's a huge space in between. This space is the only one not subject to change. Heat element changing from the heat to cold. Air element changing from the movement to the holding nature. But the space in between never subject to change. But our mind, our eye, our ear, our nose, our tongue never tuned, never focused to see the space. As for the feelings are concerned, pain and pleasure is subject matter for us. But when and where the no pain, no pleasure happen, we are nowhere. Likewise, perception, formations, mental formations, and the consciousness, each and everyone has the middle area. That is, our senses can't feel it. Our senses are not meant for that. 5 senses are meant for these vibrations. Whenever the vibration ceases to exist, that does not mean non-existence. There's a kind of existence we can't explain through this day-to-day language. We can't explain through this the language of the senses. So you have to calm down it. And when it's calming down, you must not add anything. You must just let it be calm. Let it be something happening rather than doing. Don't add any volition. Don't add any will. No intentions. And just see. Just observe it. And this onward, from that point onward is the most standard kind of vipassana going to take place. Up to that point, what you do is making the ground preparation for the standard kind of vipassana to happen. So therefore, in the each and every sitting, early minutes, what you do is making the alignments and adjustments. If you are experienced yogi, easily few minutes time you can go into this, the subtle vibrations or subtle nature. Others take 45-30 minutes sometimes to go up to that level. So if you are practicing again and again, you can go to this, the kind of a sensation devoid of this sense impingements, but still you can completely understand. But that is not Nibbana. That is not the ultimatum. This is yet another phase, something like when you are shooting a rocket to the moon. First you have to get rid of, go away from this, the gravity. After that you have to enter into the orbit, and in the orbit you have to stay longer time to acclimatize all the astronauts and do all the calibrations. So you keep the relationship with this controlling room and calibrating the proper angle where to shoot into the moon. And there onward no gravity. There onward nothing to obstruct you. But when you are associating the world at 6 miles above on the orbit level, you feel in between situation. So that is what the yogi understand, the successful yogi understand. He can't feel the body, but definitely experience is there. Some people find part of the body is disappearing. You can't feel it. Sometimes you can't feel the breath. Sometimes you feel the tingling and pulsating sensations at your nails or earlobes or other places, but you have no any intention to do it. You have no any will, but you can't deny it. Because your sensitivity increases, so all the senses come into manifestation. So if you are without destroying, without disturbing, if you are opening yourself, you are preparing yourself to go beyond this gravity force. Gravity means this desire, the hatred, and the ignorance. When and where this gravity goes, still you can live, but acclimatization has to be there. You can't directly jump into the other. Slowly it happens. That is why the Buddha's teaching is always gradual teaching. So when you are doing, anytime you can come back home, and next day you can go little further, come back home, little further. So more and more you go up to this calming down of your body and taming your object, then onward you get addicted into this meditation. You can't do away with that, because whatever you do, you can come up with that mentality. That mentality no one can rob from you. No one can disturb from you. Unless otherwise you emotionally upset, emotionally you disturb it, this situation is there. So at the beginning you are vulnerable and succumb to the external shocks, external things. But whenever you do, you experience this kind of a balance, you see this is that the tension, these external distractions and the shocks are not my real home. My real home is at the calm down level. Because you have access to the both. You know the world of the senses and this grammar and the language. But when you go to that calm and quiet space, you know language is not working. But undeniable, and the Buddha, he silently says, recognize that inner space or this whole body experience as more homely than these distractions. So this is a kind of a very big change in your liking and disliking, change in your personality. So it is not a conscious decision. It is happening due to the experience. More and more you go there, there's no other option. So, but anyway, as I mentioned, you can go there, come back. Again, go there, come back. This is a kind of evolution. I think we stopped 40,000 years ago. If you wish to quicken it, you have to have the path. When you are cutting through, you understand it is under your very nose. Unless otherwise you distract it. But anyway, to achieve it, to have it, you have to go through in this systematic way. Start first with the materiality, the body, the corporeality, develop the mindfulness and the concentration, and do as little as possible manipulations. Let the meditation to go. Don't get moved by the pressure or pain. Don't have any result-oriented kind of approach. Let that natural unfolding to happen. So for that, the Buddha emphasized how much you must talk and associate the noble friends and the virtuous people. Otherwise, never you can assimilate this one. That is why the whole Tripitaka means. Tripitaka is nothing but case histories. How Buddha teach different people caught up in different situations, and even though it is multifacets, multivarious in the situations, the middle path is exactly the same. According to the entanglement, we have to do disentanglement. But the method is the same. So, don't lose your heart telling that mindfulness is very difficult with the breath. This is the matter for everyone. So that is why it says it's painfully slow. But once you develop, it catches the momentum, and then it will be safeguard you all the difficulties, all the emotions, all the distraction. There, it will be the most helpful friend for you. it is within you. So therefore, those who considered about own well-being, they have to take this and practice as much as possible. So that is what I thought of sharing with you today. Thank you very much for listening. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.